Today, we're going to talk about one of the most incredible pieces of tech on the entire planet. And you've got two of them. I'm talking about the human eye. It's a story about how we see our world in all its vibrant color, but it's also a story of what happens when that light starts to fade and how incredible innovation is finding ways to bring it back. I mean, really think about it for a second. Everything you see, from the tiniest bug on the leaf to a huge sprawling sunset, it all comes through this tiny little ball. We take it for granted because it works so seamlessly, but how does it actually happen? How does a ray of light become the world you see right now?
Well, the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of the eye as a super advanced biological camera. Seriously, it's got a lens, an aperture, and a light-sensitive screen, all working together perfectly to capture an image. Okay, so let's break down how this living camera actually works. It's a pretty fascinating journey that turns simple light into, well, everything we see.
It all starts with light, of course. First, light passes through the cornea, that clear dome on the front of your eye. Then, the iris, that's the colored part, acts just like a camera's aperture. It opens and closes the pupil to control exactly how much light gets in. The light then hits the lens, which fine-tunes the focus and projects an image onto the back of the eye, onto the retina. And get this, the image is actually upside down. Finally, the optic nerve zaps all that info to the brain, which flips the image right side up and tells you what you're looking at.
Now, let's zero in on that retina, because it is absolutely crucial. If the eye is a camera, the retina is the film. Or maybe a better way to put it is the digital sensor. It's packed with millions of light-sensitive cells, and this is where the real magic happens. When light hits these cells, they fire off, turning that physical light into electrical signals. It's the moment the outside world gets translated into the language of your brain. For most of us, this whole system works perfectly our entire lives. But it's an incredibly delicate setup. And the story we're really digging into today is what happens when this critical part of the camera starts to break down.
So just imagine that light-sensitive screen, the retina, slowly going dark. The camera's still there, the lens still works, but the sensor just isn't picking up the picture anymore. This is the heartbreaking reality for thousands of people with certain degenerative eye diseases. One of the main causes is a condition called retinitis pigmentosa, or RP for short. It's an inherited disease that causes those super important photoreceptor cells in the retina to just die off over time. So people with RP are usually born with normal vision, but it slowly fades, often starting from the outside and tunneling in, until they have profound vision loss. And this isn't some incredibly rare thing. It's pretty significant across the globe. You're looking at about 1 in 3,000 people in Australia, and the numbers are even higher in places like India and China. That's a lot of people whose lives could be completely changed if we could find a solution. And that brings us to the most exciting part of this story, the part where science and engineering step in to do something amazing: build a bionic eye. I mean, just listen to this quote from Ash Atia, the CEO of the company behind this. They're not talking about small improvements. They're talking about restoring functional vision. It's just an incredibly ambitious goal, merging human biology with cutting-edge technology. So how on earth does it work? Well, it's a system with 3 main parts. First, you've got a pair of glasses with a tiny camera on them that sees the world. That video feed gets sent to a small computer you can wear, which crunches the data and turns it into electrical signals. Then, and this is the wild part, those signals are sent to a tiny grid of electrodes that's been surgically implanted at the back of the eye. And here is the genius of it all. The system doesn't even try to fix the dead cells. Why bother? Instead, it just bypasses them completely. The electrical signals from that implant directly zap the healthy cells that are still left in the retina. It's like creating a clever little detour around the biological roadblock. So what does someone with this implant actually see? It's not like their vision is suddenly restored to perfect clarity. Instead, they see little flashes of light, which are called phosphenes. Each electrode creates one little dot of light. But over time, the brain learns to interpret the patterns of these flashes, piecing them together to see shapes and objects. It's literally like learning a brand new language for seeing. This incredible idea has actually made the leap from the lab into the real world, and it's offering a real, genuine glimmer of hope for patients. The second major clinical trial was small but so important. It involved just 4 patients. These 4 pioneers were the first to use a fully implantable system not in a lab, but at home, in their day-to-day lives. Their experiences were absolutely critical to prove this could actually work. And the results? They were just remarkable.
Patients showed real, tangible improvement in all these everyday tasks we completely take for granted. Things like navigating around furniture, sorting laundry, walking down the street, and spotting a trash can. They could even find an empty chair at a cafe table. This isn't just a science experiment anymore. This is about giving people back their independence.
But maybe the most powerful result was the social one. Social isolation is a huge, huge problem for people with severe vision loss. Being able to detect a face means you know where someone is, you know where to talk. It turns a lonely, isolating experience into a human connection. It's about rejoining the conversation.
And this isn't where the story ends. The success of these trials has really paved the way for what's next, for the future of sight itself.
This breakthrough didn't just happen overnight, It's been a long road, starting over a decade ago with a research grant. That trial with 4 patients proved the concept worked. Now, after making it even better, the team is getting ready for one last big trial. And if that goes well, this technology could finally get the approvals it needs to become available to so many more people.
This whole story just leaves you with this one huge, fascinating question. The bionic eye is such a powerful example of how we can use technology to fix or even enhance our own biology. And as these two worlds keep merging, it just makes you wonder, right? What are the limits? What does the future of all of our senses actually look like?